Hey Ian, you ready?
You bet I am. What are we talking about tonight? And talk about guns?
If it's not a 30 cal, I'm not in.
Jeez, mate, that's not very inclusive. Have you seen Jono?
Hey Jono, you ready?
Well, God knows where he is, mate. He's probably caught up in the neighbour's wire again. Are you ready to go? Let's do this.
Mate, I'm ready. Let's crank it up.
Righto then. Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Hunter's Campfire, where we're going to talk about all things hunting and the great outdoors. And we'll probably throw in a few tips along the way.
You want a tip? Say it once, say it 1,000 times. Goats love rocks.
Or a few things about deer. Mark, what do you reckon about deer?
As a deer hunter, I love hunting pigs.
Well, that's about as useful as I expected it to be. Oh, check it out. Here comes Jono. He's being chased by the neighbour's dog.
Okay guys, let's get this started. Welcome to the Hunter's Campfire. Pull up a chair, get comfortable. It's time for the Hunter's Campfire.
Happy New Year, gents.
Happy New Year to you and happy Hanukkah and other happy
Things.
greetings, both religious and sectarian based.
Happy Giorgio. Yes.
Happy Giorgio. Forgot
It's
about
2025.
We're back.
Yeah.
We're back. It's
We're
25.
back. First one.
How close to the rut already? How bloody awesome is it?
Days are counting down.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's
That's
a bit
very
kooky.
exciting.
It is
Yep.
a bit kooky, that.
It's
Well,
almost a month till we're going to have the midnight dash for bookings.
don't tell everyone.
Yeah.
Midnight. Remember,
Don't
midnight.
tell anyone that there's going to be
Don't tell
something
everyone
happening
the
with gear in April, okay? Just be quiet.
No. Wait till closer to the day and then book it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yes, it's all kicking off. Lots of things going on, aren't there? Range days, pre-scouting days, gear checking already going on. I've added a pack to my walk in the morning just cause. Why not?
Just cause.
Just cause. I was, I went through a stage where I'd broken my phone, so I had to use my giant iPad for Bluetooth to my headphones. And it was raining at the same time, so I spent quite a bit of time walking around with my bino rig on, with my iPad in the bino rig instead of the binos to keep it dry. Yeah, it's all going on. It's good
That
fun.
works.
Why not?
Yes, I was thinking about just that, and I was also thinking about, because I was doing the report for Beretta, and I thought, you got the rut, and then we've got something we usually do in winter, and then we've got territory in September, and I'm thinking, okay, so the year's already filling up.
I knew a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, there's stuff in between
No,
those.
that's the big things, and then there's I have my annual hunt with my boy in winter as well, and there's about a million other things in that as well. So I was just thinking, wow.
Yeah.
And I usually go for a hunt in February, and I'm going a hunt next week.
Yeah. I'm counting red deer hunt with Lawson. A week later, down to hunt camp. Not long after that, we will have a winter slam trip. Sometime in there, I'm organising a hunt fit camp on a private block for those who are involved in hunt fit. So that's going to be fun. I am making a commitment right now to get down to our friends at Hellenic Hunters sometime over winter if it suits them for a samba hunt, because they've offered on more than one occasion, and I want to stop turning that down. And then, of course, like you said, there's another block that we have a private booking on, known as the T block, that we'll all head to, and then it'll be samba. And I think we were even trying to jam New Zealand in there somewhere, but I don't think that's going to happen this year.
No, I don't think New Zealand's this year, but we're hoping to do a fishing trip to Fraser, even maybe.
Yes,
I'm hopeful.
It should be fishing. It's
Yes.
busy. It's very busy.
It's going to be, the
And-
calendar is filling up.
And there's a very good chance I'll be hunting in England at the end of the year as well.
I'm sorry about that. Pigeons, was it?
Deer and pigeon.
Pigeons.
Pigeon shooting's fun. Don't knock it.
Yeah, man.
I love it. They're such good eating.
Do not knock shooting birds on the wing, mate. That is just...
I know a great outfitter that could take you on a good pigeon shooting trip for $2,000 a day. Cheap, apparently. Cheap.
Argentina?
Africa.
Africa.
Oh.
Okay.
Saw the
I'd rather go
package
to
price.
Argentina for pigeons. Oh, that's doves.
Eye-watering.
Pigeons is doves.
I mean, you must love it. People must love it. That's okay. We'll let them
No, I
have-
don't pay that much in England, mate.
You come around our shed, shoot some pigeons.
Yeah, you probably won't like all the buckshot.
Salt.
Actually,
Salt will do.
I was going to say, while we're talking shotguns, Mark, I need your advice because you
Okay.
are
Yeah.
a shotgun specialist.
Ooh.
I have been invited to go and shoot some pigs on a smallish block up near me, but I have to use a shotgun.
Slugs. The biggest hammer you got.
What am I going to use?
Okay. My advice would be something like 9-ball.
9-ball.
Yeah, 00 buck, the big
A
stuff.
double O buckshot. Yeah.
So the one that is basically 9-ball. So I think that's about a 35 caliber.
What gun are you going to use for that?
Silver pigeon, mate. Keeps a nice spread on.
Probably use the Benelli, I think.
Yeah.
Keep the same chokes, would you? Or would you open it?
Give it a bit of breathing space.
Yeah,
So open it up.
Just take them out.
I mean, look, technically it doesn't really matter, but and the thing is, you're usually at pretty close range.
Yeah, so I think he's got 120 acres, I think, not far from up here. And he's got a bit of a pig problem at the moment. And he's
Perfect,
like,
mate.
neighbour shot one, and they're all in this gully, and he wants them shot. They want them done. So
That's perfect.
I've been invited
Walk in
up.
there and
Blaze away.
bang, bang.
Cool.
Shoot him in the head.
There we go.
Kick him in the ditch.
Kick him in the ditch.
Shoot him up front.
Cool. I will be using that. I need to get some double O then.
Yeah. There was actually a guy on, I think it was Hunting Australia, shot a deer with a shotgun, and that
saw that.
caused a bit of angst.
Yeah.
That's why it's called buckshot, though.
So
Isn't it?
I so much wanted to say, you understand that they call it buckshot not because it cost $1. It's called buck for a reason. But I didn't. I just went, nah, let it go. That's right.
Walk away.
Can't shoot a deer with a shotgun.
Well,
Okay.
there's a thing, though. In the US, buck is also a name for an adult male rabbit.
Yeah.
So buckshot may not be
No.
for deer.
There'll be nothing left of a rabbit if you shoot it with that.
Not if you actually look at buckshot and then look at a rabbit. No.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, buckshot. Well, if they use buckshot, as in what buckshot is, on rabbits in the US, then they have some very big rabbits.
Fair enough.
Buckshot is
I just
deer
say,
load.
not just deer, antelope,
I actually
and
thought
reindeer, according to Google, are known as bucks when they're males, but also the humble bunny.
I thought rabbits. I thought a hare was a buck. I didn't know a rabbit was a buck.
I'm only telling you what vocabulary.com says.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and hares. Male hares are called bucks. Rabbits,
Yeah.
male rabbits are called bucks.
didn't
And
know what
rats,
it
male rats are called bucks. There we go.
Maybe that's what
Buckshot.
it is.
There we go.
Maybe buckshot is
Two ball
actually
on a rat. Kangaroos, full-grown male kangaroos are called bucks.
bucks.
Steelhead trout, also called bucks.
Maybe they're shooting fish.
Well, can't argue with Google. Oh, that's actually an AI overview, and AI is never wrong, right?
So yes,
Especially those images of people that come out with feet on their hands and things like that.
So I was surprised by the angst about shooting a deer with a shotgun.
Or the term buck can also be used as a verb to describe an abrupt or jerky movement. So maybe buckshot is an accidental discharge when you're bouncing in your saddle.
Well, they say buck fever, so maybe that's
This,
the fever you get when you get bitten by a rat.
right. Or it's also used to describe the American dollar,
Yes, that's what I thought.
a buck.
Mhm. The reason I thought it was used to describe American dollar is because of the buck skin, as in a deer
So,
skin.
according to ChatGPT, buckshot refers to a type of shotgun ammunition that uses large pellets designed for hunting larger game such as deer. The term
And giant-
buckshot
Giant
itself
bunnies from our megafauna
originates
era.
from its use in hunting
fish.
buck or male deer, but the history of buckshot goes back even further and is tied to the evolution of shotgun ammunition and the need for versatile, powerful rounds for both hunting and self-defense.
This brings up a really good subject, and that is that we should organise trivia at some point.
Why not?
We've only talked about that for years and have never bothered. Anyway, the term buck.
Okay.
Or buckshot.
Buckshot.
Yeah. Anything else of interest going on throughout the week, Mark? You've had an outing with
I went to
with a gun of sorts.
Today I took a good friend Graham, who was originally with us to the territory, but got appendicitis.
How unlucky.
So couldn't make it to the range. He's been a couple of times with me. He's licensed and all that. He's on the journey. He's done the course. He's got his license. He's bought a safe, all that stuff, and he's wanting to get his first rifle. And he likes the CTR. So I said, well, I happen to have one of those. So we went to the range and shot the CTR. He shot it pretty nicely, actually. And
is he a lefty? Is he a lefty?
No. Just off the bench, and he shot it pretty nicely. Interestingly, what was interesting is I've got it set up for me to shoot 2 inches high. And when he shot it, it was shooting only about half an inch high. And I went, what have I done wrong here? And so I took it off him and had a couple of shots, and they were 2 inches high. So I said, okay, it's just how his head is and positioning and stuff. But the other one was I also took my oldest, he just turned 12, to the range as part of his journey for hunting. He's been hunting with me since he was 6, as in coming along on our hunt trips and going to including our annual father-son winter hunt. So, but this year, being that he's 12, we were thinking about getting the license last year, but he can't get an R license till he's 12. So we thought, I don't need to rush it. So went to the range. Shot the 22, the Tika T1 Hunter, the Timber 22. That is a really nice 22. It's kind of not what it is. It's not a small rifle. It's like a 22 for grown-ups. Yeah. It's just got a shorter barrel because it's supposed to have a suppressor on it. So it's actually a really nice rifle. So it's slightly big for him actually in that sense because as I said, it's a good compromise between sometimes 22s can be really, really small, really annoying, but it's a good rifle.
Yeah, mine's really small and annoying.
It's funny because
the 22. Sorry,
we were walking out to the paper targets. What's up? What?
I said mine's really small and annoying when I was referring to my 22.
Okay.
I was agreeing with your comment that some 22s are small and annoying.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like really compact and.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's because the history of them as youth rifles. I think that's what it is. But that's and so when we were walking out to the 50, he was going, "Oh, I can't hit this. It's too far away. It's too far away." And then I put out a target for Graham at 100, and he's going, "Oh, yeah, no." So after 3 shots at 50, he goes, "Can I shoot 100?"
Of course.
And it was actually really good because he was understanding bullet drop, and we just worked on technique and positioning and things like that, and crushing the trigger and all those kind of things. So he's on his way. He had a great time. Wants to go back. Got to do the year. I've got to attend the day course with him, which I admit I'm not looking forward to that much. But anyway, it's what you got to do. And then once we get the
safety course, is that
he's got to do that safety course. And once he's done that, R license, junior R license.
Nice.
Look,
you're on mute.
You're on mute. Yes. Your little microphone there.
Oopsie daisy. I said that's great. I can't wait to be able to do that with my son and get him up and running in State Forest, but it's a few more years away yet.
Yep. Well, our stretch target is to have something this year when we go on our trip this year.
So that's about the winter. Is that another winter trip?
Yeah, we usually go school holidays.
Okay. Are you planning Nundle or?
I don't know. So we've done Nundle. So we started on a private block below Nundle, and then we moved to Nundle, and last year we went to Pilliga. And I'm almost tempted to go to Barrington Tops.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Heading a bit further afield.
Yeah, it snows up there more regularly. It's colder, which is all part of the fun. Yeah, I'm tempted to do Barrington Tops. Or go somewhere again. It's a great opportunity to explore, because expectations are non-existent. We're just going for the joy of it. So why not explore another state forest?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'd like to go a little bit further down south, but
yeah,
I really like the parks I go to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've been to Pennsylvania. That's as far as south I've been. There's others I want to go to, but where I go, it produces and they produce well. So you're kind of thinking it's a bit, why bother driving? But yeah, I do want to explore something that's slightly different. So we might go to Barrington Tops or one of the other, maybe one of the ones out in the more west as well, the central west. So yeah. So that's me.
Very good. Jono?
Not much happening for me this week. Back to work.
Summer, right?
Yeah, but what I did do, as you can see over here, is I got my fox back. I don't know if you can see the skin.
I thought it was a buck rat.
No, that's the
Shot
fox.
with
That was the fox from the Slam trip last year that we got, and yeah, finally got it back. So it's beautiful skin. Looks great. Nice big fox, that one. So I'm pretty happy with that. But no, for me, starting to think about, now it's the new year, starting to think about hunt camp. If I'm going to hunt the red deer raw, I'd like to. But we'll see. I've got the potential for a chital hunt, which may
It's
happen.
summer, though.
Yeah, it's the best time to hunt chital.
Yeah, summer. Yeah.
Correct.
Right, so you've got a potential soon.
Soon, yeah, before April. So, and the other thing, I was talking to our good friend Adam, as well as maybe even doing a trip down to Victoria to go hunt a private block, Mark, the one that we looked at.
Oh yeah,
if you recall that one.
Alpine one.
Yeah. So go hunt that one potentially.
Mm-hmm.
He was keen, just because we can do some fishing as well. So really, really good trout fishing in the spring. So potential for that, but I just don't know about time and leave and everything else. That's
becoming a squeeze, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll see about that one. But no, we did a trip down to Nundle between Christmas and New Year, which we'll get into at a later date. But that was I've never been down there in the summer. It was a different experience. Took my son down for his first trip. But yeah, as I said, we'll talk about that one later when we actually go into that. But that's the start of hunting for 2025 for me, was doing some sort of recce work for hunt camp and finding some areas, putting the cameras that I had out in some of the locations. I pulled one of my cameras out of Hanging Rock, which had some good animals on it, good numbers, some nice bucks, lots of does, big pig. And I've only about 1,000 photos in so far, so I've still got another 2,500 to go through. So, yeah, I don't know what else is on there. Just haven't had time to look through them. But
you haven't figured out how to get AI to scan them for you?
No, not yet. I've been scanning through them, and I've kind of worked out a process now where a lot of the nighttime photos, which didn't come out very clear, I've just deleted those. I wish there was a way to set a timer on the camera that it only fires between certain hours. I wish there was an option to say that it only shoots between daylight hours, so between 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. or whatever it is. That would be nice, just because I find a lot of the nighttime ones are just not very clear. So I'm only really interested in the daytime. Although the nighttime one does give you activity, what the animals are doing. I know maybe it was just the placement of my camera, but the nighttime photos just didn't come out. You can maybe make out a wallaby or maybe make out a doe or something like that, but it's really hard to see.
Wow.
I'm only really interested in those between the hours of sunrise and sunset, which is legal shooting time for me. So what time are they coming through? I'm starting to work out some patterns from that already, just looking at the time of year. When I've seen the does come through, there were some red hinds come through, where were the bucks, and I'm hopefully going to then apply that to hunt camp 25. So overall, yeah, that's it. Start planning, start thinking about gear. What am I going to refine? What am I going to change? And just start planning. And then where am I going to put in the calendar? That's probably the biggest challenge.
And your nighttime ones aren't very clear. Is that what you're talking
Some of them aren't. No.
Jesus, mine are. No, okay.
And like I said, maybe it was just the placement of the camera. It's quite far back, so I think the night vision stuff that the camera's got is just not great. I think had I put it in a tree even closer, then maybe I would have got better images. But the ones that I've got just aren't great. So, how about yourself, Hills?
I am absolutely refining gear already. Lots of stuff going on. A lot of that's got to do with going through this fitness change, and everything I own is too big, so I have to replace it, which is an expensive problem, but a good problem. When I bought my pack, or got my pack, I should say, I ordered it with, they come in different belt sizes. Those sorts of things need to change. So I'm just going through that and making sure everything's fitting properly so that I don't just pick it up at the last minute and have a problem with it. But yeah, so I'm going through a lot of that now. I'm getting into it early just to make sure everything's cool. And other than that, I'm really just diving into the fitness to make sure that I'm really, really ready for it this year. I found some pretty dark, gnarly, ugly places to go hunting on our trip recently, and I'm keen to explore them. I probably would have shied away from them last year a little bit, some of these spots I found, but I'm prepared to go and get lost in the deep, dark nastiness of Tugelo and Murder Dog and various other places. So it's giving me a new challenge, which is nice. The trip we went on was good. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more shortly, but it was just a good experience to get back out there in summer and get some trail cams and things like that out. So yeah, that's pretty much me for now. Trying to do a bit of summer shotgun shooting still, but it's a tough one in summer, isn't it? You kind of really peel off doing too much and just wait for the cooler months to show up. But it's been pretty mild, really, the summer. So probably not
very wet. That's the problem.
Lots of water. We haven't had any of those scorching 40s yet.
No,
February's still to come.
Well, they're calling potential La Nina, wasn't it?
We could have we may be in line for a summer La Nina, which is not particularly common. Most La Nina comes in winter through to spring.
What does that mean to the rest of us uneducated hacks?
Well, you know what La Nina is. It's when it's more rainy than dry.
Yeah. But what is that? What impacts does that have across through to winter?
El Nino is dry. La Nina is wet. But generally, those events kind of come through winter into spring.
Does it have any bearing historically? A wet, cooler summer, does that indicate a cold winter to come?
No.
I'm hoping. That's what it doesn't indicate that, or it doesn't mean.
But what's this particular? So they thought we were going to have another La Nina, but then it went kind of very neutral, as in, yes or no. But they're now saying that they believe that we're in line for a summer La Nina. So the wet comes in the summer more, so you get, and that's obviously when it is wetter anyway, so we'll have a much wetter summer into autumn. Yeah. And generally it seems to be when we have La Nina, it's generally a little cooler in the daytime, just the cloud cover, but it seems to be a little bit warmer on average at night because the cloud cover. So that's, we haven't really had too many hot summers of recent years, as in long hot summers. We've had obviously hot days, but we haven't had long hot summers.
No, we haven't been in that sort of.
We've been in this
hot droughty for quite some time. Yep.
Yeah, we've been in this La Nina cycle, which for us is going to mean that we're going to have 2 to 4 good years of game activity.
Oh, for sure.
Because they roll on past the good time, so. There's still going to be a lot of game activity. The only thing is it just makes it difficult to actually hunt because some places just become inaccessible if they're too wet.
And regrowth. Man, places that were good last year are no good this year because there's so much regrowth coming up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Place at Nundle and Hanging Rock is
change.
Just ridiculous amount of regrowth in there. And also, I think the wetter weather seems to bring on the rut a bit earlier. So I know last year wasn't the greatest of ruts. I think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
No.
Moon phase is moon phase.
That's right.
I don't know. I think weather plays a part in it as well. It's not just
I think weather plays a part in their attitudes.
That's right. Their activities.
Activity and their vocalization and all
that. Those little chemicals inside them, that's the moon kicks them off. How hard they party, I think it's a party.
So the moon party on the beach is
is it how hard they party?
If it's raining, the party's not going on.
Yeah, that's partying. It's just a bit more. It's like it's like a rainy New Year's Eve as opposed
to an abundance of hot doughs. Plenty to go around. No need to fight.
I think that might also very well be the fact if there's lots of ladies around.
Maybe.
Let me go back to the bikie analogy. A busload of ladies show up at the bikie pub. There's 50 bikies and there's 50 ladies. There's no need to argue. A carload with 3 reasonably homely women show up into a bikie pub. There's 4 of them and there's still 50 bikies. There's definitely going to be a punch-up. You guarantee it.
So, yes, I do think weather plays a part in their behaviour, but I think the thing that turns it on is the moon.
The moon.
And the day length and all that stuff.
Yeah. Which doesn't change. Historically, doesn't change.
No, true.
That's why it's kind of...
The weather plays a big part in the experience as well. So camp last year was
too hot.
Warm and
it's not right to come back to camp to sunbathe.
Yeah, correct.
Right? There's no need for that. It should be cold and miserable and horrible, and should be looking for fire.
My hunt in Brisbane Valley last year last 2 years has been not cold but miserable, been wet.
Wet.
I mean wet. So yeah. So I'm probably going to go check my cameras in the last week of January because they've been up there then for 6 weeks, and that should give me enough time to understand what's going on.
Happy days.
Mm.
All right, I got some questions. Change the subject. 2 questions. Now this is a quickish answer because of the time, and I've got 2 questions to answer. So this one's going to be quick, and this is a very open question to start with. It comes from one of our listeners, Lawrence, and he tells us how amazing our podcast is, which is very nice of you, Lawrence, to say. He's looking to know what is a good podcast to listen to in our back catalogue around selecting your first rifle, diving into state forest hunting, which I've referred him to a couple. We've got Gun Prawn Galore and also episode 40, which was all about rifles that you fellas.
We've got one called So You Want to Buy a Rifle as well.
Oh, where's that?
So You Want to Buy a Rifle is the one I would go for.
Which one's that?
I will tell you. For you.
Okay, we'll find that. We'll drop that in there as well. Anyway, so there's 3 podcasts. Go and have a look at that. But my question to you, gentlemen, assuming that he's heading into state forest because he wants to hunt some deer, point him towards a fairly common, well-priced caliber and rifle package. What would you be recommending to a new hunter? I know it's a difficult question.
No,
lots of different factors, but reasonable optics, reasonable rifle package, reasonable budget.
Sure. Jono, you want to go first?
I think for me, I'll quickly just interject. It's episode 103. So You Want to Buy a Rifle.
Thank you. I'll go find that and post it.
That's another one we had when you weren't here.
Yeah, I know.
We talk about guns
here that I didn't have. About it. Should be called gun yawn, not gun porn. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So for me, a good entry-level package, you can't go past a Tika. We've all got them. We've all shot them. We rave about them. They're great rifles. They're well priced. They come in a number of different options as well. So you can have timber stock, you can have synthetic stock, you can have a fluted barrel, you can have whatever you want in those. So I would definitely look at a Tika. Mark spoke about the CTR earlier. I think that's a great rifle. It's a beautiful rifle. Good entry level. And they're not, I suppose, entry level, but a medium scope would be a Burris. I own several of them. I use several of them. I have my Benelli has a Burris scope on it. They come in different flavors as well, but the Burris do a good sort of medium range scope. I would be looking at a Tika T3 light, probably. I think that's a great rifle with a synthetic stock. I'd be putting a Burris, probably a 3-9 by 40 or 3-9 by 50, or I think they do a 3-9 by 44, just to give that magnification range is probably what I'd be looking at from a caliber perspective. Probably 243, 270, 308. is probably the calibers I'd be looking at. Something where you can get good range of ammunition in. You can go into any gun shop, pick up some rounds. It's not too expensive when you go to the range, and learning to shoot it as well. So that'd be my pick. Mark?
I totally agree with all of those things to add. Interestingly, price comparison to performance in rifles is now much better than in optics. You can buy quite an entry-level rifle that's pretty crash hot nowadays.
Well, they all come now with a sub-MOA guarantee.
Right. And people kind of go, well, what's MOA? Well, when I first started, that was everyone, I'm getting close to MOA. Now you just buy this thing and bang, it's landing MOA. So if I was thinking about this, I'd actually think more about the quality of optics. Yes, Ian?
Sorry, because we're answering a question for a new person, you might want to tell everyone what MOA is.
Minute of angle. So basically, it's a measurement of
accuracy
angle on so minutes, degrees, seconds on angles. So basically, for a really simple way to describe it is that when the rifle on it says it shoots 1 MOA, it's basically saying that it will put 3 shots within a 1-inch square box
at 100
yards. Okay, now that's not exactly correct because MOA is not exactly an inch, but that's a couple of layman's different. But basically, a layman's term, it means 3 shots.
You're gonna
100 off a race, bang, bang, bang.
So your rifle packages that you're talking about have all got a lot closer. You're gonna shoot 3 rounds into a 10-cent piece
in a 20-cent piece
out of the box.
Out of the box, you can put 3 rounds.
Obviously, that's under controlled conditions.
Sure.
But yeah, basically, so the rifle itself is going to be relatively accurate straight out of the box. So you can look at Tika, and I would certainly run my eye over the Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
they're a pretty good bang. I think they're a really good bang for their buck. Italian-made rifle. Buck, sorry about that. Bang for your dollar.
Bang for your dollar. Bang for your rabbit mail.
I think they're a very good ding for your dollar.
Oh, dear.
So yes, so I'd certainly look. The Frankie, what I like about them is you can buy.
Oh, there's the buck. Shoot it.
There he goes. Shoot it. You can buy a Frankie that's kind of like jazzed up.
Oh, they got the fluted bolts and everything.
Yeah, you can buy the jazzed up rifle.
6 years, yeah.
At a price that you would pay a lot more to jazz up another. So, you're kind of getting a lot of bang for your buck there. I'm going to say that again. So you get fluted barrel, a Cerakoting, all sorts of cool things like that, the Frankies. And my logic for that is that Frankie rifle will shoot probably as good as a Tika or as good as you'll notice. Okay. Yeah. Maybe if you get them to the range and the competition and stuff like that, you'll see one shoots better. But for a person who's starting out, who's hunting, and you're going to be hunting state forests, and your shot's going to be between 100 and 200 meters, that Frankie will do the job.
Did you settle on a caliber?
I'll get to that, and that'll allow you to then spend a little bit more on your optics, because optics aren't there yet, and I don't think there ever will be. You can't buy your way into cheap optics and get high quality optics. You just can't do it. You can get quite good optics, but they're a simple.
You get what you pay for when it comes to optics.
Yeah, they're a simple relationship between dollar value and quality. That's how it is. So if you kind of went a little bit cheaper on the rifle, which would be still a very good rifle, you get better optics. And I often think that the optics are almost as important because that's the part that you're actually communicating with the rifle through your eyesight. So going optics. And so I would look at that price difference between, say, the Frankie and the Tika might get you between Burris and Steiner for still same package. And I really can't go past, if you're looking for a first rifle, a 308, if you're a grown-up. Ammo is everywhere. Range of costs of ammo is very broad, so you can go from a pretty simple, soft, relatively good performing soft point right up to the specialty projectiles. You can go and a whole range of different grainage, so weight classes in bullets. It's a Commodore, but there was a reason why we all drove Commodores. That was it. That's what it is. It does its job, and in terms if you're hunting in state forest, again, 150 grain soft point will give everything that you hit it with, pause.
Right. So we've got live updates as we speak from our good friend Lawrence.
Oh, wow.
Private land, southeast Queensland, Western Ranges, deer, goats, rabbits would like to stick to around $900 to $1,500 a rifle. And then again, that sort of money for accessories. Would also love a 22 LR as well. So I think everything you've just said falls inside that sort of budget range.
Well, I'm going to have a look at...
so I know...
Say hello to Lawrence. I'm quite excited by this live update.
So I've personally been looking at one of the Frankies.
Over here.
So I've personally been looking at a Frankie. I've been looking at they are sort of they are sub $1,500. I think they're around $1,200 or $1,300 for a Frankie, and that's for a beautiful synthetic stock. And you get timber stock with they got the fluted bolt. They're a beautiful rifle, fantastic. And then even the buroscopes, you'll get a nice buroscope for less than $1,500. Again, caliber, you're not going to shoot. There's not going to be much left of a rabbit with the 308, but certainly for goats and deer.
Well, not even
perfect.
A big buck.
So I'm looking at the Frankie Horizon Elite Strata Combo Stock Cerakote. That's a hell of a lot of words, but it's the the one that's fully tricked up. So it's Cerakoted. It's got a fluted bolt. It's got that Strata camo stock. That's $1,319.
Happy days.
Bear rifle. And that comes in, I'm sure, it comes in a whole range of caliber, including 308 or 6.5. The reason I chose 308 over 6.5 is not because it's so much better. It's just
economy.
And also, I mean, if you're getting one rifle, if he's in Southeast Queensland and he's going to be looking at reds and things like that, potentially at some point, you'd want to go for a 30 cal.
And you can get a Frankie down to just over 1,000. So the synthetic blued is 1,049 plus, including GST. And then there's the timber one's the most expensive. That's 1,450. There's a synthetic one with a box mag if you wanted a big blaster. That's so they're 50. Everything there in that range is under 1,500, and the kind of the one of the best ones is 1,300. And what was the price you wanted to spend on a scope?
Much the same range, 900 to 1,500 on accessories.
Well, let's say scope and
bipod.
Yeah, it's going to cost a lot.
Yeah,
if it gets a decent one.
Yeah, for a Spartan.
You can get a Ranger 4 for $1,500. So that's a European scope for $1,500. So $1,500.
And a Burris? What is a good Burris going for?
Burris. Let's have a look at Burris if you want to save a few bucks. So Burris is very good stuff as well. I mean,
so the Burris Signature HD is what I've got on my Benelli. And I mean, that starts at $990.
There you
so
go.
It depends what you're after. So I've got the 3 to 15 by 44 is what I've got. That's $1,300. So.
And I say this often, and I said it on a chat group for Nundle. Don't be kind of tempted to buy the Hubble telescope for your rifle.
No, hell no.
Yeah, you'll actually find that. So, for instance, the HD do a 2 to 10 by 40. That's
every young new hunter wants to be a sniper, and they want a big.
Well, it's a fashion. You got everything. It starts at 5s. That's 5.
You almost wanted an ending there.
That's it. Yeah. Well, look, I hunted for years with 5 power being the maximum power.
Yeah, but when optics first came out back in the they only came in small power.
No, but they weren't variable back then, mate.
Oh, they weren't.
So if you're going to make fun of my age, you got to get it right, brother. They were fixed.
What is it? 4x40s with a 4x32s and 4x40s.
Fixed, yeah,
that was the fixed scope.
I meant the year. I meant the year, not the back in the 1940s.
The Barris 2-10x40 would be a fantastic scope for that rifle.
And we'll cover most things that we hunt.
And when you get and that would get you the money to buy the rifle, the scope, the mounts,
some ammunition,
a bag, and a handful of ammo.
And with your change, you come across to the Hunters Campfire website, buy a T-shirt.
And get some.
That's right.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
You're completely tricked up.
There you
go. So, thank you for taking us down another gun buying rabbit hole.
What was the second question? You had another one.
I have another one, so let's move on. That was cool. Thank you. Question number 2 comes from Robert. Been watching your stuff on YouTube, trying to navigate this space for some time, feeling new to hunting, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to create the content you do. Without channels like yours, most beginners would be completely lost, given the complexity of the sport. Happy New Year. Thank you, Rob. There was no question there. Oh, yeah, here he goes. I asked him to send questions if he had any. I have 1,000 questions, but I've kept it to one. In your opinion, what is the most effective method of learning to hunt? I would imagine that time in the bush is key, but I've also been tossing up whether to do courses or study a program to increase the odds. There are a few of them out there that I won't name necessarily. I won't name necessarily because it's irrelevant, but I have access to you guys that know how to hunt. Not everyone has access to you guys that know how to hunt, and he's just looking for what we feel like the best approach would be for him trying to soak it up. So is it time in the bush? If it's time in the bush, what supplementary stuff can he get to try and accelerate his learning? How do you value courses? How do you value sort of mentored programs? How do you rank sort of buying somebody's time for 3 or 4 days to go and physically shoot an animal or do a weekend course? There's lots of things in there, but not everyone has the budget. Not everyone has the time. Things online are accessible. There's lots of things in there, but let's spitball that one for 20.
Sure.
Well, I'll jump in. And for me personally, when I started hunting, podcasts didn't exist. When I grew up, the internet wasn't really a thing. There was no access to I'm showing my age. Yes. And I grew up in South Africa.
It's still not going to take off, I tell you now.
Yeah. But for me, I think one of the most important thing is time in the bush. It's for me, they say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. You're not going to get that watching a video by watching, listening to people. Yes, it helps. It's supplementary. But for me, time in the bush. And even if you're not even carrying a rifle, if it's out there observing animals, trying to get close into a kangaroo or, a wallaby or something like that, that's all going to play an important part for me.
Let me rebut that just for one second. Well, not even rebut it, but just add the great thing about YouTube content or other content that's out there is it may give you some things to focus on. So time in the bush for a new hunter is great. But if we've had a couple of podcasts, we've had new hunters come on that have been looking for help, and there's one that we did some time back. Factoring in the wind wasn't even a thing for that hunter at the time.
Yeah, I had that with my son as well. But as I was alluding to, for me, time in the bush, everything else is supplementary. But that supplementary information is now a lot more readily available. So the fact that you can listen to a podcast, you can watch a YouTube video, take what you've listened and learned and put into practice. I think unless you put it into practice, it's very different. Listen to someone talk about the wind and how the wind and the draw, the thermals and things like that until you're out there and experiencing them. And you've seen suddenly, an animal's ears just prick round and their nose swing round because they've heard you or smelt you. And it's because of the thermals. Until you've experienced that, yes, you can talk about, well, the thermals are going to be there. They're going to come up and they're going to go down. But until you felt it and experienced it, it's not, for me, you've got to practice what you preach and really take what people have taught you or you've learned and put into practice. That's my take on it. I'm sure I can see Mark's thinking. He's got another opinion, but
no, I'm just trying to think about the question in total.
Well, let me throw the next question at you then, based on what we've been asked. I don't think anyone's going to debate that time in the bush is really important, and the more time you spend there, the more you're learning about the nature that you're within.
I don't know if that's the case. I think
discuss.
As you said, look, I'm got the one of the screens open, and one of the things that have popped up is someone that we've spoken to before. And that guy was spending a lot of time in the bush, but as we said, didn't take any notice of the wind. So time in the bush, it's kind of like this, when you talk to people who don't fish anymore, and the reason they don't fish anymore is they don't catch any fish when they go fishing. And I think that, and I know that I've known people who were hunters who stopped hunting because they were unsuccessful. So I think it's time in the bush there needs to be an outcome of it, or you kind of just go, I'm wasting my time here. So I'm trying to think about how to say this. A couple of other parts of the question, should I go to a course or should I go to that? The thing about any kind of course is you got to, I think, what you buy, you've got to be clear what you're buying before you go to that course. Okay, you've got to know what you're buying. Because, again, it might be interesting information, but it might not translate to any kind of hunting you're ever going to experience.
And that's another thing. And the course you're attending could be one person's opinion as well.
Well, if I go on a guided hunt, okay, this guy is going to guide me on private land. That guy knows that private land intimately.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't kind of go. He doesn't stand there and go, okay, let's put all my hunting knowledge into practice, and we'll go over that way, and we might find a deer. He goes, no, last week
there were deer in that valley. They're going to be there again.
We're going to, So there's actually no knowledge. There's no hunting knowledge there. It's intimate knowledge of what's happening on that block of dirt. So what can appear to be really, really skillful is just knowledge of the thing. Is that they just know what they're doing. They know that block. They know what's happening on that block, so they can guide you straight to the animals. And that can be useful because what it does is it gets you onto an animal, and then you can learn about the fact and what's it like to shoot an animal. That's part of it.
And then you get the butchery side at the end of it.
That's right.
It's a
but
different
from a
part
hunting
of it.
side of it, that's not such a great learning experience. Because you're looking at them and kind of going, oh, they walked that way and the animals are that way. No, they know they're there. They, before you turned up, they took a drive around in the car and saw them and said, okay, they're over there. That's where we're going. Same with the course. What's the course about? Is it like Lawson's beginner's hunting course? So is it going to have the information that you want, or is it going to be a specialty course that might be very interesting but doesn't actually give you what you need for where you're at? I think so. To me, the best learning is to talk to as many different people as you can, and then from that information, get your time in the bush. So not just us, because there's plenty of other people out there, but if you're going to look at hunting, where you're going to hunt. Okay, I'm going to hunt public land. Okay, so look for the guys who specialize in public land and watch what they do, and that kind of thing. So you need to be a little bit precise, or not precise. You need to be an astute shopper. You can't just look at stuff and go, okay, that's what it is. You've got to kind of think, I'm going to be hunting in the bush. I'm going to be hunting in public land. Okay, I'm going to reach out to people who hunt public land and talk to them about what their experiences are and things like that. So that's then putting in those, I suppose, fundamentals of hunting that you might get at a course or talking to people, and then translating those fundamentals into what you're going to do and where you're going to go. So, turning up to hunt camp would be a fantastic way to learn about hunting Nundle.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't even hold a rifle.
Well, I think that's a very valid point. I mean, you've got to look, last year at hunt camp, there were guys who were not seeing any deer, couldn't find sign. We took them for a walk 5 minutes out of camp, and it was like, there's a scrape.
That's
there's
sign.
shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's sign.
And
all of a sudden, more deer started coming back into camp, and they're like, oh, I've seen that. I know where it is.
Yeah.
I think that knowledge, that shared knowledge, and I agree, but you're in the bush. We did that in the bush.
But
it's practical experience.
That's right. You've got to be able to. I've often said you can't shoot them from you. If you can shoot them from your back, your back deck, then that's perfect. Stay there. But for most of us, we've got to go out and pursue them. Yeah. So if you are going to pursue them, you need to make sure that you're trying to make that pursuit the best, the most effective as you can.
And that time in the bush that I'm talking about could be with a mentor, could be with people who are experienced hunters. I think most of us probably would have had a mentor. I had, someone when I was younger, who was my mentor, because I didn't have access to online resourcing. Your mentor could be online resourcing, which you then take into the bush and put into practice. And we've all got YouTube now. You can download the videos onto your phone and you can walk around and say, oh, that's what a scrape looks like. You can have calls on your phone if you need to. If you don't know how to call in a red deer or do a fallow croak or something like that, you can download the video onto your phone and you can use that when you're in the bush. I think it's taking the advice of others, taking the guidance of others, and getting into the bush and putting that into practice.
And that's it. And those others, it's as wide and varied as you can. I think
because everyone's got a different way of doing things, different way of doing a fallow croak or a red deer raw. Everyone's different, but that's not to say they're not correct. And I mean, in how they do it.
I'd love to get a video of 4 different people skinning out a deer. Because there's 4 different ways that skin's coming off, So that's what it is. It's about, I think, building your network, talking to people, not asking them, oh, mate, people kind of say, I'm going to the state forest, where are the deer? And I say, well, I'll drop you a pin because they're waiting there for you. But actually saying, okay, I'm going to hunt this forest. What can I expect? Okay, well, this is the kind of terrain. This is the kind of animals we've seen in there. This is where that we usually see them and things like that. So I think asking lots of questions at lots of different people and then putting that into practice is probably the best way to start learning. So if he's going to hunt private land, the guy's asking question.
No, there's no reference to that. I think he's just trying to get into.
I'll be asking the farmer, okay, what are you seeing? What's happening? Stuff like that.
Where do you see them? When do you see them?
Where, when, and the farmer might not know. To be honest, he might not know, or he might not give you the. He might be saying, "Well, I was seeing one on a tractor type thing," so it might not be. But you need to find out that much as you can, and ask us. I mean, we do this every day. But there's plenty of other people. I mean, Profty's a great learning resource. Watch his stuff about hunting public land.
Yeah. Yeah. And Lawson's course up here is very hands-on, practical. He does a really good job of that.
Yeah.
I think if I was to summarize that, there isn't a lot of substitute for time and yards, but whatever time and budget you've got, every person you talk to is going to have a bit of gold, really. If someone's running a course, they're going to have some information that you're going to learn. You might not learn a whole lot. You might learn a whole lot. Who knows? But getting your boots on the ground, learning the basics, learning what the basics actually are, and what habitat needs to look like, how important the wind is. Those sorts of things are really, really important. But if you do get the opportunity to go on a course, I certainly wouldn't discourage it because you're going to pick stuff up.
For sure.
Now, some courses are very theory-based. There might be nature walks that you might go and see things. Not too many courses involve you carrying a rifle and killing something because courses aren't usually one-on-one. There's usually multiples. So you shouldn't expect that. And saying that, there are some people out there that run an education weekend, which is more of a one-on-one booking, where you might go out into the field and take an animal at the same time. Some do that really well. Others take you for a walk and shoot an animal, and you don't learn a whole lot. So a bit of a mixture of everything, I think, is probably going to work. Start with where your budget is, and there's plenty of online content.
Storm just hit there, Mark.
Yeah, it's hammering down now. Yeah, we got a good part of it.
Hopefully that answers Rob's question.
And if I was going to say, if Rob's keen to learn, then as Mark said, hunt camp. Even if you come in as an observer and spend some time around camp is a great learning experience. There's a huge range of knowledge and experience around camp. You've got guys who've been butchering deer who are, chefs and cooks and butchering deer. Look at Arthur. He was, I think, butchered every single deer that came into camp and showing guys how to do it. You've got, guys who'd never seen a deer before coming into camp and going for a walk and then learning the sign, learning what to see. So it's a good experience. You don't have to carry a rifle to learn. Often it's best not to.
There's more than one person in that camp that's willing to take a buddy with them on their hunts.
Yeah.
Correct. So, people who know those forests.
We do have a handful of non-hunters that are coming. So yeah, that's a good one. It's a good trip. Well, it sounds like it's raining.
Yeah, I think it's coming down there, Mark.
Yeah, there's a bit of wind behind it too.
I can't wait for that to hit. I better go put my stuff away.
Splashing down, as they say.
Right.
So yeah,
let's switch gears again. Then that answers those two questions. We'll leave any others we've got alone for tonight. Should we have a quick chat about our scout trip?
Yeah, why not?
Let's talk about
Go
that.
for it.
Just make sure that roof's not leaking.
That's it.
So if you followed the socials, you would have noticed that we spent a little bit of time up in Nundle over the last couple of weeks, and this is being recorded in January. I think it was between Christmas and New Year.
Between Christmas
we were up
and New Year,
there.
correct.
Yeah. So we went up there for a couple of reasons, but the main one was to pull some trail cameras out that have been in there for 6 months or more, 12 months nearly.
How long 6 months for me? Since April, since last time.
And then scout some new ground for the rut and put some new cameras out. So yeah, it's a good trip. How'd you get on?
Yeah, really good. It's my first summertime trip down to Nundle, which was a different experience. It was hot. It was the first trip with my son as well, and yeah, it was a different trip for me. Put it that way. Normally, I'm very, very focused on the hunt and very focused on what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. This time, I had to think about my son. Was he okay? Was he fed? Was he hydrated? Was he having fun? Was he all the rest of it? So
and Nintendo Switch battery going flat.
Yeah, exactly. Did I put that Switch on charge? Is the Starlink on? Is it So yeah, look, it was a very, very different trip, but I'm glad I did it now and not in April. If you came with me, I don't think April's the right time to do that sort of trip, but it was great to get down. I mean, we were impacted by the weather. We had a total fire ban. We lost a day, which was unfortunate, but we left the guns and locked away, and it was actually a blessing for me.
Worth covering that off.
Yeah, I think for me it was a blessing because it was Adam's first outing out in the forest, and there was lots of talking, shouting, "Hey, Dad, I heard something," at the top of his lungs, and have we been actually hunting? Yeah. Dad. I don't know how. I think I've heard the word dad more times on that one trip than I have in my entire life. But it was amazing for me. At one point, I think it was the last afternoon, we were out, and I actually let him guide the hunt. Is what I did. The wind was completely wrong. He wanted to go here. I let him just go, and we went up this ridge, and we've actually found a really, really good gully. But he had let the wind wrong, and then we stopped. I gave him a big hug and said, "Mate, I don't think you realize how proud I am right now because, I've been waiting for this day for so long." And then we spoke about what he did, how he did it, what he did wrong. So, and we'll go into that because that leads into a whole different conversation. But for me, it was an incredibly proud moment to finally take my son out on a hunt. And
he was so excited. The whole time he was so excited.
And he was half crook as well. It didn't help, and he was struggling. I think on the last night he was like, "Dad, can you take me to the doctor?" And I was like, "Mate, we're in the middle of Nundle State Forest. Like the nearest doctor's an hour away at least." So, so I feel for him, but he had the best time. He's really asking when we're going back. He said, "You got to take me on every hunt now." So it was, for me, it was an amazing experience. Plus I got to pull my camera, which had some animals on it, which, makes me excited for hunt camp coming up for the rut. There was some good bucks on there, lots of does. So I know that it's a good spot. So I'm hoping to get back down in there. I found a couple new areas, put some cameras out, keen to see what they've got on them. I had a great trip. How about yourself?
Awesome. Yeah, it was good. I'll just cover off that total fire ban thing. So if you're not aware of it, the total fire ban, if it hits the day that you're there, there's no hunting. You're not allowed to hunt if there's a total fire ban. So
and that includes with a bow as well.
Yeah, that includes with your bow. You're basically hunting permits are cancelled for the day of total fire ban. So we were, and I guess this is one of the things. It's the hunter's responsibility to keep an eye on that. And it's your responsibility to know that there's a total fire ban. Now, those total fire bans can get called at 6 o'clock that evening for the next day, which I think is quite interesting. It's just the way it is. And for the first time, this time, we've been playing with these Starlink minis, and we've had connectivity in camp. Now, if we had no connectivity, we had no way of knowing if there was a total fire ban, then, you could easily be out there hunting and your permit's been cancelled, which means everything's going to go wrong for you if old Uncle Ranger shows up and sees you doing the wrong thing. Not to mention your insurance is probably void because you're not supposed to be doing the activity in the first place. So you got to be careful about those things. So it's worth having a look if you're going into summer. Anyway, enough said on that. I'm sure that'll spark some debate, as rules in state forest always do. But that's the letter of the law. Similar for me, young Zave, he's just turned 7. I took him for the trip as well. It was good for the two boys to have some company and reenact WrestleMania on the grass at some point when they were bored and had too much energy. That was all good fun. And Zave's a couple of years younger than Adam. So his enthusiasm was there, but also his desire for sleep existed. Yeah. So he was less interested in bouncing out of the bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and going and finding that deer in first light. I dragged him out one morning. By the time he realised that I was steadfast in my desire to keep walking, he gave up the, can we go back now, Dad? And he started to enjoy himself. So that was really cool. And we spent some time, as you did, talking and learning and pointing things out and, just getting them to learn by osmosis a little bit. But, I spent a bit of time on my own as well. Zave stayed back at camp. Jono stayed there, and I managed to walk into some nice gullies, get some trail cams up, and just get a few things prepared for the rut. So I love hunting there in summer. It's really good. I didn't see any animals this time, which is quite different to last year. Saw quite a few, but I'm not disappointed. I was there to spend time with the young fella, and the crunchy, stompy, kick the rock, break the stick, call out for Dad. What's that noise? It's Missy, the dog, just next to us in the bush. You don't need to tell me about it every time you hear her. Those little things, you're unlikely to be sneaking up on deer, but there was every opportunity we would have seen them in the distance, and if that had come off.
For sure. And for me as well, those the things that we experienced on the trip, on the 8-hour car ride back to Brisbane, we spoke about them and strategies on how we can improve them. So it was a real education piece.
It's awesome.
Which I think which was the purpose of that whole trip.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. So yep, no, I've enjoyed that. We've located camp options 1 and 2 for hunt camp this year, and just look forward to getting back. I'm probably going to sneak another trip down there between now and then. And
I'd be keen.
Well, I did the wrong thing. I found a beautiful gully, but just before I found this beautiful gully, I found this gnarly spur. So I found this place, beautiful outlook, hugely steep, like almost rappel off the edge, steep drop off down into this gully. But then I found a spur that I could get down. So I'm walking down the spur, and I thought, this is looking pretty good. And I found a game trail that was running down there. It was pretty well worn. So I put up a camera, and then got a bit further down the spur, and I found this was the head of the spur that overlooked the gullies, and it had a pretty good looking spot that red stags would like to hang out. I'll stick another camera in there. And then I'm 3/4 of the way down the spur to the bottom, and I'm like, I'm not sure I really want to hunt this. It's too crunchy. It's almost impossible to get into. I'd already put the cameras in. There was no feed. It was all just sticks and dying leaves and that sort of stuff. So it wasn't great habitat, but it was the perfect place for a red stag to be up overlooking his gully, massive gully. So it looked good for that. So I put the cameras up. And then I sat down for a bit and had a look at the topos and pulled out the Athena map, which, geez, they're gold, Rob's maps. Pulled out the Athena map, had a look at the contours, and realised that the position that I was in, there was I'm using my hands now for the listeners, it's great. There was a spur going down the left, and there was that I was on, there's a spur going down the right. And normally they would have a big basin in here, in between them, the gully at the, inside the spurs. But what it actually had was a really shallow hanging basin, as I would call it. And at the edge of the hanging basin, it dropped off again. So there was the contour lines into that basin were actually not very steep. So I decided to go and wander into that and see what was going on. When I got inside that, what I call a hanging basin, there was a creek that ran to the edge, and then waterfall that dropped off the edge. So there was water in there, but it was grassy and it was beautiful, and there was great sign. And out the other side of it, there was must have been a very, very old, 30, 40, 50-year-old access track that wasn't marked on any maps. It would have been wide enough for, I imagine one of those old school 4-wheel drive trucks to go down. Big wide turns as it snaked up the ridge. Had really big wide turns for big vehicles to get around. Very overgrown. No way you could get a vehicle down to it now. Lots of logs, lots of rocks, lots of stuff. So the exciting thing about that was I was able to walk back out of the gully that way. The disappointing thing was I'd already put my cameras up on the other side of the gully, and I didn't really feel like walking all the way back up there to go and get them and relocate them. So I didn't, because it was my last morning's hunt. So what I want to do is I want to go back with more cameras, because as I walked up that almost 2-kilometre exit track out, you could see over the edge into magnificent habitat gullies all the way up. You could just look into more and more and more. the prevailing wind was perfect. So I now know where that comes out. Very hidden. Can't see it from the roads. The tracks that used to be there are gone. So now I can pluck over into that and I can walk down and see lots of gullies and lots of really grassy, good areas that get me right down into the base of it. So that was exciting. Just that I ran out of cameras was a bit of a shame. But INSTA brakes. Don't unload your cameras too early. It's about the message I get out of that. But it was a great trip. Look forward to getting back.
Looking forward to hunt camp.
I'm looking forward to hunt camp. It's cool.
Mm.
So that is that. What else we got?
I walked out of the conversation and checked my house was holding up. It's fine.
Hasn't blown away.
There's some wind out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're in the firing line next. I'm watching it on the radar. It's coming. Should be hitting me very soon.
Yeah. So, yes, I'm down there next week, and there's a bit of Tugalo that I'd like to investigate.
Let's go have a look at that camp spot, Mark. See what you think.
No, I wasn't. That wasn't. There's an area I want to look at in terms of hunting when we go for a walk in there. But I would like to see those camp spots. I just love with the Google Earth when you get it, so you can actually see the contours, because there's one part of it that we're looking at is, it's like a significant cliff on one side. So interesting to see what it's going to be like in there. But I won't be putting any cameras up because all of mine are up in the Brisbane Valley.
Never mind.
You can put some up.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any other subjects? Are we
No.
about tapped?
About tapped.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome. First podcast for 2025. Done.
Done.
Yeah, done. Done.
Okay, gents.
Cool. Good night. See you guys soon.
Right.
See you.